You're listening to
the Beer O'Clock.
The Beer O'Clock Show.
You're listening to the Beer O'Clock Show.
It's Beer O'Clock, and this is the Beer O'Clock Show, where every week we drink something that reminds us that we do indeed like beer. My name is Mark, and joining me, dressed in his Union Jack onesie, is Steve. Hello, Steve.
Hi, Mark. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, mate. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Very good. We're taking a brief pause in our Six Nations season to celebrate Beer Day Britain, and joining us is one of Britain's finest beer sommeliers, Jane Peyton. Hello, Jane.
Hello there.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We've got you on to talk about Beer Day Britain, obviously, and tonight we are sampling. Is this the official brew for Beer Day Britain?
Well, I probably wouldn't call it the official one, but it's the beer that I've co-brewed with Sarah Barton and some of the women brewers of Project Venus as our contribution to National Beer Day.
Okay, so it's called Britannia's Brew. It is a golden ale?
Yes, it's a golden ale, 5% ABV, and it contains British hops, British malts, Maris Otter malt actually, but also it includes botanicals to represent each of the 4 home nations. I've included Northern Ireland as well in that. Great. So we have heather for Scotland, red and white rose petals for the Tudor English rose. We have heather for Scotland, flax seeds for Northern Ireland, and seaweed for Wales, and I think I've just repeated myself with one of those botanicals.
That's fine. So we'll be getting to that beer in just a little bit, but before that, Stevie, do we have any beery news, mate?
Yeah, of course, mate. There's a few beery stories this week.
All right, here's your pips. Beep, 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 beep.
Okay, so first up, we're going to go straight in with some Brewdog news this week because it's been a few weeks since we've had them on. They've announced that they're looking for target locations in the next year. So in addition to looking to open up some more bars in London, not sure there's too many more places in London they can inhabit, they've also published a list which is about 12 places long of places where they're looking to set up new breweries. Now, interestingly, for me, the one that really sticks out on there is Southend-on-Sea. I can't understand, and I'm allowed to say this because I'm from Essex. I can't understand why Brewdog want to put a bar in Southend-on-Sea. I really can't. It's full of your typical type of lagery Essex boy drinkers, and I don't see why they want to put a bar in Southend-on-Sea. Anyway, that's my opinion. So yeah, they're looking at expanding their sites. They're also expanding the brewing operation at the brewery, and they're using the first 3 million that's been invested in the new equity for Punk scheme to increase the size of their capacity. And all that is obviously going to create new jobs. So good on Brewdog for continuing to support the brewing industry. Next story, just to follow up on one we did a few weeks ago. The North Brew Co. launched up in Leeds a few weeks back. Just a bit more information about what it's going to be about at the moment. So this is coming out with a North Bar in Leeds. They've formed a new company with the people that are behind Belgrave Music Hall, and they're on the brink of signing for a new site with kit going in September and hoping to have the doors open to their weekend tap room in October. In the short term, their beers will be available in the North Bar, the Cross Keys, further north, Alfred, North Bar Social, Preston, as well as Belgrave Music Hall. So most of those places are in the Leeds and the Leeds area. Keep your eye out for the North Brew Co. beers that will be available soon. And then finally in this week's news, Howling Hops, who are a brewery based in Hackney, have just announced that they've opened up the first UK dedicated tank bar. Now, this is basically, they've got all their tanks of beer lined up and you're getting the beer fresh from the tank. This is in Queen's Yard in Hackney Wick and is well worth a visit. Check out at Howling Hops on Twitter. Search through their feed and you'll see loads of lovely pictures of their shiny tank room. That's it for the external news. This week, mate. We've got some Beer O'Clock Show news as well. Just to let people know, because I'm guessing people might be worried about this. We found Fender Blender who was the winner of one of our giveaways last week. And it's actually Paul Grant, who was on the last lock-in with us. And you can find him at Can I Get a P on Twitter. So congratulations, Paul. You were the third winner of the eBrewer box. And also, just the final bit of news as well, mate. We topped 5,000 followers this week on Twitter. That's quite a milestone, don't you think?
I think so, yeah.
So I just wanted to say thank you to each and every one of you that follows us and listens to us and gets involved in the Beer O'Clock madness. We really appreciate your support.
And less than a tenth of you follow me, you bastards.
Well, where can they follow you, mate?
At Beer Show Mark.
There you go.
Right, we've got a return of everyone's favourite new segment, the one without a theme tune, Hop Topic.
Yes, mate. So more people getting involved in last week's top topic. So just a quick roundup of what people thought of that. And if you remember, we asked about the cost of beer festivals, what would be the amount you'd be willing to pay, and all those sorts of things. I think you had a bit of a sweary rant last week, which a few of our listeners quite enjoyed. But here's the feedback from some people this week. So at Irish Beer Snob, our mate Wayne over in Ireland says a higher price with free beers included encourages binge drinking of the higher ABV beers. Martin Oates got involved again at MJPO007, said he paid 38 quid for the London Craft Beer Festival last year, which he thought was quite good value. You don't then pay for your drinks once you're in there, but that's probably the upper limit that he'd go to. But he said also something that London Craft Beer Festival do is they offer early bird discounts as well. So if you book your tickets earlier on, you get them for a bit cheaper. So that seems to be a winner. At Bank of Dad, Mark Scanlon, so a new contributor. He says he wouldn't pay more than a tenner for a beer festival. Okay. Fair enough. In and out. No messing about there. And then our number one fan at Miles Lambert says prefer to charge per drink. The cost should reflect what's on offer. So are there speciality beers? Are there events as part of it? Is there Meet the Brewers going on? That sort of thing. In his experience, he's found that some of the best festivals are local, where you pay a couple of quid to get in and a couple of quid for reasonably priced beers as well. So that was the feedback from last week. This week's hot topic, and it's interesting. First time we've done this with a guest. So let's see how this one goes. This is about Lidl getting involved in what they've deemed the craft ale market. Now, there's a bringing together of two phrases, if ever I've heard one. So this was the announcement last week that discount supermarket Lidl is adding trendy beer lovers to its growing list of middle-class targets with the launch of a range of regional craft ales. So they're going to start stocking more than 60 mainly British-made bottled beers, stouts, porters, IPAs and ciders this month. The range includes a vanilla porter, some Innis and Gun, and some other beers that, if you look at the picture that accompanied the press release, you'd question whether they're actually craft breweries. Beers are going to be individually priced between £1.17 and £1.69, with a majority at £1.49. So Lidl's launch craft ales. This week's hot topic is, what do we think, firstly, of supermarkets getting in on the growing range of beers that are available, and then secondly, the Lidl's announcement came with celebrity endorsement as well. So what do we think about celebrity endorsement, trying to get more people into craft beers? Let's open up this week's discussion with some thoughts from Jane, maybe. Jane, any thoughts on this one?
Yes, I was interested to hear this news. I'm of the opinion that the more people that drink beer, the better. And so if a shop like Lidl stocks it and makes it available to a wider audience and the price is brought down as well, that's good for the customer, for sure. In terms of craft beer, that's a phrase that doesn't actually mean anything anymore anyway. It's just a branding name now. And I saw the picture as well. And there were some mainstream brands in there. But, every sensible retailer needs to have those anchor brands that most people will recognise, so they'll feel comfortable drinking those beers, and then they might be a little more adventurous and try something that they don't know, or maybe a local brew that they've never heard of before. And also, because the price is low, they're not going to waste money if they haven't made the right choice. They can always wash the hair in the beer, or they can kill the slugs in the garden with it. I water my hydrangea outside, by the way, if there's any beer that I don't like, and my hydrangea is booming. And then just to finish your question, Steve, about celebrity endorsement, I'm afraid that we live in this celebrity-obsessed world now, and if it helps get the word out, then yes, we have to accept it, I suppose. And at least they've chosen somebody like Alex James, who does have a bit of cool about him, and he's got a certain hinterland, hasn't he, in terms of his fan base.
Yeah,
and just makes cheese. And what's better with beer than cheese? It's a lovely synergy, isn't it?
Absolutely, and I love it that you've given us our first ever Beer O'Clock Show gardening tip as well. Thank you for that. I can't disagree with anything you're saying there. I mean, I think yes, I agree with that. More beers available in more places can only be a good thing. Mark, what do you think on this one, mate?
I agree with Jane. I think it's great that. Well, the main reason I think it's great that Lidl's opening themselves up to the, quote, craft beer market is mainly because there's one at the bottom of my road, and so I don't need to go very far.
It's all about you, isn't it? Me with you.
It's always all about me, yeah. Now, whether that Lidl, which is a bit of a shit Lidl, will actually get any of the beer in, I don't know, but I'm going to go and check it out.
You'll have to start a placard campaign, Mark, and stand outside saying, "We won't craft beer."
Maybe I will. It wouldn't look too out of place in Streatham, I have to say. I think supermarkets getting the beers in is great because the vast majority of people who aren't exposed to, the term craft beer aren't the type to go into your craft beery bottle shops. They're going to Morrison's, they're going to the local supermarkets which have, real ale aisles, and this kind of exposure is great for the industry. And like Jane said, craft beer is becoming very much a non-term now. It's beer. And, that's about all I can say about that. And as for celebrity endorsement, I wouldn't know that fella from anyone else in the street. So the celebrity endorsement doesn't do it for me at all. But hey-ho, as long as he's getting paid.
Okay, so we seem to be of the consensus that more beers in more places is a good thing. And a range of beers available in a range of places. Obviously, we've seen over the last few years, Tesco's, Sainsbury's, Marks and Spencer's, Waitrose, Morrison's, all of the big supermarkets are getting in on stocking more and more beers. You can buy Brewdog in your local Tesco's now. It's good to see Lidl introducing more of a range of beers, I think, but I'm keen to find out what the listeners think. So make sure you tweet us, use the hashtag HopTopic, and let us know what you think of Lidl stocking a new range of beers. And also, if you've got a suggestion for next week's Hop Topic, let us know that as well, and we'll think about discussing it on next week's show.
Very good. Now, before we start talking about Beer Day Britain, which is the reason Jane is joining us tonight, let's actually get into this beer.
Yes,
I'm
please.
a little bit thirsty. So this is 5% ABV Golden Ale from Brewster's that Jane and a bunch of her friends...
Well, it was a bunch of my friends, and there's an organisation called Project Venus, which I don't know if you've heard of, but it's a group of the female professional brewers in Britain who get together every few months and they brew a beer together. So they collaborate on the recipe and then just have a fun brew day. And I think they've brewed probably 10 or 15 since they've been established. This one was specifically for Beer Day Britain, and we wanted to have something to represent all of Britain, hence it being called Britannia's Brew, and I'm sure she would drink it if she was around. It was brewed in Grantham at Brewster's. Sarah Barton, some of the listeners may know her beers, Brewster's beers, fantastic beers. I love all their beers. I don't think they make a bad one. Quite I always find that their beers are a lovely balanced beer. You always get the beautiful sweet malts, and you get really wonderful hop characteristic as well. Sarah was a British Brewer of the Year in 2012 to 13, and justifiably so. She makes great beers, very, very drinkable beers.
Well, it's smelling gorgeous, this beer, and it's pouring out a lovely golden colour. Very light carbonation coming through.
And it's a bottle conditioned beer.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to use British hops. I said earlier, Maris Otter malt. It's Maris Otter 50th birthday this year, you probably know. And there's going to be a big beer festival in Norfolk later this year for all the beers that are made out of Maris Otter. And I'm really keen on British hops as well. So I thought, which hops should we choose? And I love the names of the hops as well.
Yes.
So I looked through the names of the hops, and two of them just jumped out immediately that was so British and so apropos. One of them was Boadicea, which I've brewed with before, love it. So that's in there. And then there's also a hop called Sovereign, which
very British.
Very British. But also I really wanted to have hops that Dr. Peter Darby had developed and bred. And I called Dr. Peter Darby my hop idol because he's the world's #1 hop breeder, and he's the most dynamic and innovative hop breeder in the world. You know, the British hop program is the most innovative in the world. We should be very proud of that. And these are two of his daughters. He calls his hops his daughters. So these are two of his daughters, Sovereign and Boadicea.
It's interesting you say that about British hops, Jane, because they made the news in the last week as well, didn't they? They were in the there was an article in the Times last week about British hops and the popularity of them worldwide now, which was quite an interesting read, actually.
Yes.
And it spoke about how we're reaching a point now where last year's hop harvest was the biggest since a long time ago. I'm quickly skim reading the article trying to find the biggest hop harvest since when, but probably back in the days of when 1878. There we are.
Oh, goodness.
If you stall for long enough, you find it in the end.
Now, the irony is that a lot of brewers, or newer brewers, particularly in this country and around the world, actually, are very much beholden to American hops, which are those big, powerful aromas and flavours, which we can't grow in this country with those powerful characteristics because of the sun and because of our climate conditions. But what we do grow in this country is very subtle hops, which have great complexity. What they do, they allow the malt to speak in the beer, and they don't overwhelm you, and they're subtle but complex, and you get a really well-balanced beer. And some of the brewers, particularly in the US now, have gone as far as they can with hops. They've done peak hop. They've gone to extreme hop.
Yes.
And now they're going backwards. Not backwards, that sounds wrong. But they're now looking to Britain, to our amazing session beers, which we can make because we've got these amazing hops. And they're now importing hops from Britain into America. So 10 years later, all the brewers in this country who are using American hops and New World hops will suddenly think, I think we should start using those English hops because that's what the Americans are doing. So I'm a great fan of English hops.
So, shall we get into this beer, guys?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, let's get
See
into
what we
it.
think. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Very Moorish.
Oh, that's incredibly drinkable.
Oh, it's instantly refreshing
Yeah.
as well. And then there's just this absolute myriad of flavours going on at the end of it that I'm going to need a good few sips to start really thinking about what's going on in this beer.
Damn, we only made 1,215 bottles, enough for 1,215 bottles. The reason for that number is because Beer Day Britain is on the same day as Magna Carta Day, and you'll probably ask me about that later. But Magna Carta was sealed in 1215, so that's why there's this limited edition. So I think we need to get Sarah to brew this beer again because I think that's so drinkable. I'd be so happy with that every day of my life from now on.
Do you see it becoming an annual brew maybe to coincide with Beer Day Britain?
Well, if she was up for it, yes, I think so. Because I think a drinkable beer like this and something called Britannia's Brew, it's got appeal, I would imagine, and good name. And if it was there to mark our National Beer Day, then yeah, hopefully she will. It depends how many people go to Ales by Mail to buy it, though. Yeah, we've got to do a run on the beer and make it sell out, and then they'll be clamouring at Sarah's door at Brewster's and asking her to brew it again.
Yeah, well, get yourselves Ales by Mail and use our discount code to get 10% off.
Ooh.
Sorted.
Yes, exclusive stockist sale by mail are.
There's some lovely earthy flavours coming from this.
There is. There's some light citrusy flavours as well going on in there.
Sovereign is gives that earthiness and grassiness. I think Brewster's yeast is probably giving that orangey citrus. What you might get from the Boadicea is some floral notes to it as well.
Yeah, I'm getting a nose full of the floral as I'm drinking it, and then
yes,
these lovely malty, earthy flavours. It's just really drinkable. I mean, it's like a quintessential English or British golden ale. It's like straight down the line, no messing about.
Yeah, I was just about to say it's not hiding at all, is it? It's exactly what it says on the tin. It's a British golden ale. Mm-hmm. It's extremely moorish. It's very flavoursome. Nothing is too overpowering in there, and it's got a lovely soft bit of finish to it.
I really like the level of bitterness. To me, that's a lovely one, and it just makes me want to drink even more of it. Very, very moorish and juicy. Love it. Indeed. This is my first try of it, by the way. I'm trying it with you.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Oh really? Oh,
yes.
Well, that's a surprise. I thought you would have had a few of these by now.
I was very strict, and I thought, no, I'm going to wait until the Beer O'Clock show, and then I can taste it with you two.
Oh,
I'm really glad you like it. Phew.
Me too. So, Jane, can you tell us a little bit more about Beer Day Britain? What kicked it all off?
Well, I love beer, absolutely love it, always have done, and I love British beer. I love beer from all around the world, actually. I love pubs, so it just brings so much joy. For years, people have been talking in this country that we should have a National Beer Day, and we never have. And I think the reason for that is because nobody wanted to own it. And so if the industry did it, it would then be seen as an industry thing, maybe as a cynical exercise to sell more beer. Mm-hmm. And I was recently an award winner with my beer sommelier job. And so I thought, that's a really good time to suggest that we should have a National Beer Day and actually get it off the ground. So I've been talking to people for months now. I've been working on this for about 18 months to try and get a National Beer Day. And I thought, well, we should have a date that is significant. So it's not just Beer Day. You could choose any day to be Beer Day because, we all do drink beer regularly. But I thought, let's have a significant date. And then I looked at Magna Carta and realised that in Magna Carta, Clause 35 of Magna Carta mentions ale. I thought, wow, it's the most significant legal document in this country, or one of them certainly. I thought, wow, that is so wonderful that this incredible document, which is so profound and has had so much influence around the world, should mention ale, our national drink. And then, even better, 2015 is the 800th anniversary of Magna Carta. So there's already been international focus and national focus on the subject. So I thought, great, this is a great date to have it. 2015 will be Beer Day Britain, and it'll share the day with Magna Carta, but from thereafter, everybody will forget Magna Carta. From thereafter, it'll be Beer Day Britain. So that's how it came about. So I've been working, just me, on my own, working away, and I've managed to get the support of lots of different organisations in the beer world, giving me moral support, not financial support. It's all been a voluntary thing that I've done. And all the main organisations have really got behind it, and I've had help from Sophie Durand, thank you Sophie, who is now the brewing technologist at Muntons Malt. By the way, the Maris Otter came from Muntons, thank you. And she's helped me greatly and helped me with the Facebook, and Sarah Barton has been helpful, and actually so many people have been helpful. And now we've got to the point where we're almost a week away, just under a week away, and it's happening. And next year it'll be even bigger. But I know there's been so much enthusiasm on social media. And it also was a wake-up call about how difficult it is to get, a national anything off the ground.
Yeah.
Even in this day with social media and blogs and things like that, it's hard to get everybody to know about it.
It does feel like that this particular show has been one of the longest in the making, to be honest with you, Jane, because I know we got in touch with you probably in the week that you announced that this was going to happen. That was about 9 months ago, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's been in my diary all that time, yes.
Yeah, we said we want to do something around this because we wanted to support it as well. And it just, I don't think, I know we planned, but I don't think we've ever planned this far in advance for a show. And it was a bit of an epic story that these beers finally just about made it to us for tonight's show as well. Mark literally getting his hands on his today.
I went down on Boadicea's chariot, don't you know?
Yes.
The Northern Line.
I would have loved to have seen that, and I'm glad that it's all come together in time for us to be able to record with you tonight and to talk about Beer Day Britain and to enjoy the beer and to actually be able to get this podcast out to our listeners in time for Beer Day Britain next week, because there's a very significant moment as well, isn't there, on Monday the 15th that we're looking forward to.
There certainly is. We're going to have a national cheers to beer, and that's going to start at 12:15 p.m, but it's going to go throughout the day and the evening, so everybody can join in if they want to. And it's really simple. All you have to do is raise a glass of beer and say cheers to beer, and then if you would tweet a picture or just a message, but use the hashtag cheers BDB, so Beer Day Britain, hashtag cheers BDB, and then we'll try and trend on Twitter. And if we do, that'll be ace. And I think
would be awesome.
It would be so awesome. But also having a National Beer Day, we're real beer heads, aren't we? And obviously the listeners of the Beer O'Clock Show are. But millions of people in the rest of the country aren't like we are, obsessives, but they still love beer.
Yep.
But I just thought, well, if we have a National Beer Day and it's hooked onto Magna Carta Day, then it gives just the general beer drinker or the person who doesn't even drink beer, it makes them think, wow, yeah, Britain's national drink. Oh, it's important enough to have a national day. Oh, gosh, yes, Magna Carta. Might just make them rethink beer and think that it's something very special, which it is.
I mean, there's loads of people who, going back before Twitter, I would go into Wetherspoons and read the letters coming in from people who would hunt out the real ales and Wetherspoons around the country, and they just do it with a few of their mates. So, there's still loads of people like that who aren't tied into the whole Twitter echo chamber.
Yes.
So if we can just get the word out and then get those people involved who are already maybe not as obsessive about beer as some of our listeners and perhaps one of the hosts, then that'll be fantastic.
Some people have been a little negative about the fact it's on a Monday, and I'm afraid we need to go back in time and talk to the Barons and King John about that. But, my answer has been that, we can drink beer every day, and it's an opportunity. Quiet pub night, it's an opportunity. But also, St. Paddy's Day is now linked with Guinness, and people still celebrate that. That's a movable feast. So is Valentine's Day. People will still go out to the pub or to a restaurant and celebrate. So I think some people were just slightly glasses half full, and I'm they were glasses half empty, and I'm glasses half full. And what a great excuse to go and drink beer.
Indeed. We record on every Monday night, so Monday night is technically second beer night, so we fully endorse Beer Day Britain being on a Monday.
Jane, is the intention for, if you're going to do this again next year and the year after and forevermore, is the intention to keep it on June the 15th?
Yes.
So it will be a movable feast. So eventually, it will get to a Thursday, Friday, Saturday when people.
2018, it's on a Friday, and then the pubs will be so full anyway that the public will be going, "What a stupid day to have a beer day on a Friday when it's our busiest day." You can't win, basically.
Well, no, that's one of the downsides of social media, isn't it? Anybody will find a bad thing about a good idea.
Yes. Having said that, it's only been a few people on social media. They haven't been particularly horrible. They've just said I'm stupid, but that's fine. They haven't threatened to kill me or anything. Most people have been really, really full of enthusiasm and joy about it.
Cool. How are we getting on with this beer, guys?
Well, I'm nearly finished.
So am I.
Yeah.
It's imminently quaffable.
Oh, it is. And
this one is.
Bottle conditioned, I've just poured the yeast in, which I love, so it's going to taste even better now.
I did that as well. Even though I knew it was bottle conditioned, and I was pouring it as you were saying it was bottle conditioned, I still managed to dump all of the yeast into it as well. So I've been having a pint of what we could probably call Grantham Murky, which
Full of protein and vitamin B, though.
Absolutely, and you're getting all the flavour from it as well.
Yeah, you do. It really opens up those citrus flavours, doesn't it? You get more of the orange blossom.
Absolutely. That's all. That's the most predominant flavour for me is the flavour of orange coming through on it. I'm really enjoying that because it's like a nice, great big pint of alcoholic orange juice, which is just amazing.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's lovely. I'm drinking mine out of a really elegant, beautiful crystal glass snifter shaped glass. So it looked wonderful. Actually, anything looks wonderful. Even carling looks wonderful in one of these glasses. I do think that it's my favourite style of glass for drinking out of. So, fabulous.
Okay, well, as we finish off these beers, Jane, where can people find you online?
Well, I run a business called the School of Booze. Mm-hmm. And at the School of Booze, you can do your homework at the pub, by the way. And you never graduate from the School of Booze because it's lifelong learning. School of Booze is ostensibly it's an events business doing private group events. But I also write, I have a book called Beer O'Clock. Did you know that?
We saw that, yeah.
I know, the official book of your podcast. I've also got a book called School of Booze, actually. Schoolofbooze.com with lots of hyphens in there. And on Twitter, I'm at School of Booze. And if anybody wants to follow Beer Day Britain, at Beer Day Britain. And hopefully everybody on June the 15th, Beer Day Britain, will go and drink beer. They'll tell all the mates about it. We'll have a great time. Next year, it'll be even bigger. But if we can make a splash this year, then next year, even better.
Well, if our thousands and thousands of listeners all get involved, Jane, then we'll be sorted. But we'll make sure we put links to both of the websites in the show in tonight's show notes, so people can click through and they can have a look and see what it's all about.
Thank you, and I hope some of the listeners will get a chance to drink Britannia's brew before I buy it all from Ales by Mail. Really
I'm sure they will. Some of them have already been on the case. Yes, Mr. Sean Smith, I am talking to you because I know you like rinsing stores of beers that are exclusive and become available. But yeah, as we said earlier on, this beer is exclusively available from Ales by Mail, and make sure that you use the discount code to pick it up.
Indeed. Stevie, do we have an Instagram of the week, mate?
Yes, mate. Nice, easy one this week. One leapt out on me straight away, and I'm so pleased that not that it's not great to have a constant stream of new winners of this massive empty box of nothing, but it's also nice to go back to those that have supported the Prize This Prize from the beginning. So this week's Prize This Prize goes to our old pal Sparky Wright for a picture of the Buxton Yellow Belly from inside the wrapper. So if you've seen the packaging on Yellow Belly, it's packaged in this white paper with two eye holes in it. Basically what he's done, he's taken a picture of the bottle from behind the eye holes, so you're just getting it out. It's a great picture. It's linked through in tonight's show notes. Well done, Sparky Wright. You're the winner of this week's big box of nothing. If you want to enter your own picture on Instagram, just put a picture up there, play around with it, get as artistic as you like, but just make sure you use the hashtag cheers guys so I can pick it up, and you too could be in with a chance of winning the biggest box of nothing.
Indeed. And as we said a few times through the show, we have a discount code with Ales by Mail. We also have discount codes with Beautiful Beers and eBria. You can go to our Season 7 beer list page on the website and get the discount codes there, as well as links to each of their shops. Don't forget to subscribe to the Beer O'Clock Show newsletter, which has information as soon as an episode is out, so you can get it pop up in your inbox, as well as whatever else is going on around the show. And yeah, You can find us online at beeroclockshow.co.uk, on Twitter at beeroclockshow, on Instagram at beeroclockshow, on Untapped at beeroclockshow. Steve, I'm on Untapped at beershow Mark, and on Twitter at beershow Mark. Jane, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Jane.
My pleasure, and thanks so much for inviting me on and letting me speak about Britannia's Brew and Beer Day Britain. Cheers, everybody.
I shall look forward to raising a glass at 12:15 on Monday the 15th.
Yay! I'm actually going to go to Parliament Square in London, and I'm going to stand outside Big Ben, and as Big Ben rings the chime at 12:15, I'm going to open a bottle of Britannia's Brew and do my cheers there.
We'll look out for that picture then and make sure we retweet the hell out of it.
Yeah, and again, get yourself a bottle of Britannia's Brew from Ales by Mail, 10% off, don't forget. It is limited edition, it is a great... good old straight down the line British golden ale. You can't go wrong with this beer. Now, Steve, what's coming up next week, buddy, as we head back to our 6 seasons?
Okay, I actually feel a little bit embarrassed saying what we're drinking on Beer Day Britain now. Clearly, I've planned this wrong. But next week we're heading back to the continent, to a French brewery, and excuse my pronunciation of this one, Brasserie d'Annalolin. And we are drinking Evangelist, which is some sort of table beer, I think, or it's a beer de garde. God knows, it's one that you selected. This one, mate. This is first time I've ever let you choose a beer.
And the reason why I chose this one because the one I originally chose for a French beer was actually Dutch.
Yes, brilliantly well done. Yeah. So
it had a French name.
That's what we're doing next week. And just to say as well, while we're talking about what's coming up, we're only actually 3 weeks out of the end of this season now, mate. This one's absolutely flown by. So next week we're doing the French beer, and then the following week is a show that I've now become accustomed to really looking forward to every season. We've got this season's homebrew special coming up, and we've got some cracking beers lined up for this one as well. That's going to be a good one, so keep your ear out for that one in a couple of weeks' time. And then we'll be finishing the season with a beer from Brewdog. The plan at the moment is hopefully to do this year's incarnation of the Mash Tag beer, but that might go down to the wire and might change at the last minute. So keep your ear out. We'll obviously keep you updated on the show.
Indeedy. Right, that's it. Wrapping it up. Until next week, Stephen.
It's been the highlight of my week.
And mine.